Hello, fellow gamers. Mr. Arcavian here, and welcome to my gaming universe. In this video, I will talk about my overall impressions of the game The Adventures of Elliot Millennium Tales after completing the demo prologue. The Adventures of Elliot is an action RPG game in the 2D HD isometric art style for the gameplay and drawn character stand-ins for cutscenes. This is the first game of the 2D HD stylization that I have played. Like many people, I really like this style. There are some weird visualizations that seem kind of off-putting, such as the environment spawn and despawning, which looks kind of like a visual glitch, but is working as intended as to not block the player's view of Elliot while controlling him. The other thing I thought was hilarious with this was when you would be in the king's throne room with him sitting and his stubby pixelated legs hanging just over the edge of his throne. Seems to be in stark contrast to the art of him in the cutscenes, king, as he appears to be quite the tall and burly man. Speaking of cutscenes, the voiceover acting is decent to good. My one gripe about the animated cutscene is the movement of the mouth. They just seem to flap, and often do not sync up with the dialogue. I would prefer the mouths not to move unless they're conveying emotion from the dialogue. First hour or so of gameplay was very basic. You wielded two weapons at a time, each controlled with its own button, along with a shield. This left me wanting more diversity and depth. It slightly improved later as the game introduced new weapons such as spear, bow, and bombs. What I did like about it was you were able to customize the weapons with what they called Magicite. Magicite gave buffs such as bonus damage, increased critical damage, or chance. They could also affect how your weapon overall operated. For instance, the satellite Magicite for the boomerang. If you held and charged the weapon, instead of the boomerang going straight out and coming back, it would spin around the character like a satellite for about 5 seconds, dealing damage. This basically turned the boomerang into a shield that dealt damage. Another Magicite was for the bomb. It was called Frozen. It would freeze any normal mob it would touch in place. It predictably did not work on bosses as I expected. Speaking of bosses, none of the three that I faced in the demo were actually difficult or needed any sort of stratagem. The fourth boss was just a plot point before the ending of the demo. I felt the gameplay got really trivialized once I acquired the spear. While it didn't have the sweeping arc of the sword, it did better damage and destroyed any mob with its charge, which could hit up to 3 times. This, with the boomerang equipped with the satellite magicite, I never really felt challenged. Hopefully, later in the game, they will introduce some magic that Elliot can use. I would especially like this since Elliot does remind me aesthetically of the red mage from the original Final Fantasy. The characters seem to be very one-dimensional, but there isn't a lot of time to get to know them in this 3-hour demo, so maybe the full game will develop them more. You have Elliot, the protagonist orphan, who wants to make the world better. The Princess Huria has a great burden to bear and is isolated to the castle because of it, but doesn't keep her from being an annoyance in your ear via magical earring that allows her to talk to Elliot whilst remaining in the castle. The King Hakard, the benevolent king who looks after his kingdom, and is oblivious to his right-hand man, Minister Kyfred, obviously to anyone who talks to him, a giant megalomaniac. The story seems to just be taking off at the end of the demo, but leaves me wishing they gave me a little more to see if I'm really invested in the story. Overall, The Adventures of Elliot Millennium Tales demo prologue left me wanting and expecting more from it. Okay gameplay, lacking difficulty, and just one-dimensional characters with a faint wisp of a storyline. Thank you all for tuning in to my channel, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to catch more videos from me, Mr. Arcavian. Until next time, thank you for visiting my universe, and game on.